Hello everyone and welcome to my free-to-play Rares Only Plus challenge. In this series I'll be progressing through the game using champions who are rare, uncommon, or common, as well as any champion who is free and permanently available to all players. So with all that out of the way, let's dive in. As you can see, I'm currently on day 60. I just got Yaga the Insatiable today, and I'm going to start working towards Dark Aethel starting tomorrow. On Clanbot, actually before we get to that, I posted a community poll 6 days ago, and this has been the tightest poll I've ever seen on my channel. 51 to 49%. So the premise was, who would you build? Frozen Banshee and Gravechill or Kayle? I understand the reasoning for both sides of the argument, and I was not expecting it to be this close, so I was actually pretty surprised by that. 51% in favor of Frozen Banshee and Gravechill versus 49% for Kayle. It's pretty crazy. Before I did this poll, since having done this poll, I actually pulled some very interesting artifacts from the Slayer set, formerly known as the Ralathos set. So I have an attack ring for Dark Elves, I have a crit damage amulet for Dark Elves, and an attack banner for Dark Elves. So I might actually build Kayle for Arena. The one issue is, however, unless I get some better Slayer gear from this Forge Pass, the best I can do is 75% crit rate while also doing crit damage gloves. So I would need someone who can do like, a crit rate buff on my Kayle before he goes, and then if I can find that, I'll have a pretty solid arena setup. I think I could totally do a reasonable 9-piece Slayer set on Kayle. So I might be building him for arena. The only thing that would be stopping me is I think Dark Elhain is a little bit better, who is from Undead Horde. And I currently have... See, that's not that great. It's only HP. But I do have an attack banner. So depending on how this Forge Pass goes and the accessories that I get, could be the deciding factor between Dark Kayle or Dark Elhain. I do plan to build Dark Elhain eventually anyway. I got some stuff planned for her in the future for specifically Doom Tower hard waves when I have to face Tormund. Because unless I pull Seducer, I won't have a 2-turn block debuffs champion for this account because of the restrictions. Seducer is the only one that falls within the parameters of my challenge. So if I don't ever pull Seducer, I'm going to have a very difficult time facing Tormund waves in Doom Tower hard. So Dark Elhain right now is currently my plan A for that. Hopefully it works out. Also, she has a destroy mechanic on her A1, which means I could bring her in to be my damage dealer against... what's his name? The Scarab King. And that way I won't have to go out of my way to build somebody in a destroy set. So she'll get me through the waves, destroy the boss's max HP. She can also do the big version of decreased speed on her A2, so help out Haikatoon get it on there sooner. But yeah, I think she's going to be great for this account. But yeah, it's just kind of interesting how a little bit of RNG could totally sway a decision that big on who's going to be my primary arena nuker. So yeah, that's what I got going on there. Clan Boss, big updates in Clan Boss. So I decided to take the plunge and build my Gravechill killer. I also built Frozen Banshee. Now, let me get myself out of the way. You can see I got 25, almost 26 million between the two keys. My first key, I used Frozen Banshee instead of Haikatoon. My second key, but I only got 10 million damage on that key. Putting Haikatoon back on the team, I got 25, or I got like 15, almost 16 million. So it's kind of crazy. I didn't expect, I knew that more speed and more turns and all that stuff would be a big net benefit, but my assumption was bringing in more poison damage would sort of balance out the lack of turns that the rest of my team was taking, but it just doesn't. So with this in mind, I'm really looking forward to getting a good 2-1, like a legitimate 2-1 team where everyone's actually, because right now this isn't a perfect 2-1 speed tune. This is just more speed, more turns, and it's just kind of sloppy. So with that, I played around with the calculator a bit last night, and I actually invented a new speed tune that works only for it might work on Brutal. I haven't looked at it yet. But this is the new speed tune I came up with last night, and it's affinity friendly, which I've never seen a Haikatoon 2-1 team that uses marked be affinity friendly. So right now we're on Void. So if I switch this to Spirit, the only thing that changes is that Gravechill Killer goes before Coffin Smasher. But you can see it stays perfectly in sync, and we're still putting up block debuffs before the stun. So this is going to be affinity and stun friendly. We switch back to Void. You can see she puts up block debuffs right here before the stun. So, and this is going to give me 100% uptime on increased defense, which is pretty big. Because if you look at my team, they're all built with 2,500 defense, or in that neighborhood currently. So Frozen Banshee, she's got a little bit more now. But she had about 2,500 before she hit level 60. Gravechill Killer, 2,500 and 3,000 HP. It's kind of like the realm I'm going for there. Now, what's significant about this number is, so we go 2,500, and then with a 60% increased defense, we want to increase this number by 60%, so we go times 1.6, and that brings the value to 4,000. The reason this number is significant is because between like 4,000 and 4,200, you're reaching what's considered to be the hard cap for defense. And the reason this is considered to be the hard cap is because the amount of damage that you receive, or sorry, incoming damage can only be mitigated by a certain amount, and there are diminishing returns on defense, so the amount of defense you gain doesn't give you a linear progression of damage mitigation. It's like a curve. So every point of defense you put into your champion gives you less damage mitigation than the previous point. So the more you stack, the less you gain per point, but stacking more is still good, but at a certain point, it becomes better to start putting stats into other areas instead of continuing to stack defense. So if I want to increase my survivability after 4,000 defense, it's more impactful to stack HP. So 2,500 defense with Mark's 60% increased defense buff, I'm basically defense capped, and then at that point I want to start pumping HP. So, and last week I was talking about some potential, the ups and downs with Lifesteal versus Guardian. So I started making the transition, putting everyone in Guardian. Currently I have Gravechill in Guardian, I have Coffin Smasher in Guardian, I have Frozen Banshee in Guardian and Retaliation for the cheeky counterattacks. And that's about it. I want to try to get Reliquary Tender in Guardian, but before I do that, there's a couple tests I want to run first, get a good baseline. So, real quick, let's do a quick Clan Boss Key. Even though I've already gotten the top chest on hard, I want to compare the two side by side. So, actually, before we do that, I'm getting ahead of myself. So, the difference between Lifesteal and Guardian so far has not really been that noticeable. I have been able to survive into the fight slightly longer before people start dying. Like, I'm going like an extra 4 or 5 turns, which is not nothing. Like, it's more damage. And the thing about Guardian is, the more champions you have in Guardian, the more effective it becomes. It's sort of a cumulative effect. The thing I'm worried about, though, is if I take Reliquary Tender out of this team, am I going to have enough healing with the Guardian set alone? And that I won't actually know until I get all 5 of my Clan Boss champions in Guardian set and get the full 40% damage mitigation. So it's one of those things I just have to keep trying until I find out the hard way. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to show you what happens when I take out Haikatoon and replace with Frozen Banshee. So we have, just so we remember, 18 million damage with Haikatoon. We're doing the exact same setup, but now with Frozen Banshee instead. So when I built Frozen Banshee, I was under the assumption that gaining all that extra poison damage would actually give me more damage overall, but it turns out the turn meter boosts and the speed buff and the speed aura and all the stuff that Haikatoon does is just massive in terms of giving me more damage. It's kind of crazy. So you can see we did about 2 million less damage with a dedicated clan boss poisoner specialist on the team than we did with a speed champion giving everybody more turns, which is why I can't wait to try to get this 2-1 team together. However, again, it's one of those things where I won't know if it's better until I try it. So once I get marked on the team, everyone's defense is going to go up significantly, like by about 1,500 more defense on everybody, which means they're going to take less damage as well. So I'm really hoping that with the addition of marked, I'll be able to survive long enough into the fight that without the need of reliquary tenders heal over time. And if I can pull it off without reliquary tender, it's going to be huge. So that's what I'm doing with Clan Boss right now. In terms of arena, I'm still on gold 5. I'm having a little bit of trouble today finding easy. Okay, well, this was an outlier. The rest of my pages so far today have not been so nice. Also, something weird was going on in Tag Arena. I don't know if this is a viewer of the channel and they just wanted to help me out, but this guy, like Iron Starks, hit me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times in a row and lost. This same person did this yesterday too. And I actually didn't mind it yesterday because it pushed me up into the yellow and it made it easier for me to finish in bronze too. Which I appreciate that. But doing it today has kind of screwed me over because now I'm all the way up here and it might be more difficult for me to find. Maybe not. There's a couple of easy wins here. But as much as I appreciate it, Iron Starks, I would very much like to earn my places due to my own merits. So thank you. I appreciate the thought, but if you're watching this, please stop. I really want to earn this progression. I don't want it to be handed to me. But it's very thoughtful of you, and if you're doing this on purpose, thank you, but no thank you. Anyway. One thing that's really annoying is because of daylight savings time, my timer for Drexler got pushed back an hour, and it happened to get pushed back into my lunch break at work. And normally when I'm on my lunch break at work, I like to take a nap, which means it got pushed back like an extra 30 minutes because of I'm taking a nap. So now it's an hour and a half behind schedule of where it used to be because of daylight savings. So that was really annoying. But I did manage to pick up another book. So despite having 6-starred and booked Frozen Banshee and Gravechill Killer, we're back up to 7 rare books, and we still have 16 epic books. I did use epic books to book Gravechill and Frozen Banshee. Because again, due to the nature of this challenge, that's not what I meant to click. Due to the nature of this challenge, I know exactly when I'm going to get the epics that I'm going to build. I will build Dark Elhain, and then after that, we're looking at Archmage Helmet, and we are so far off that it doesn't really make sense to not use the epic books at this point if there are rares that I need to build, which there are. So in order to build the 2-1 Clan Boss team, I'm going to need to build Hellborn Sprite and Marked, because the clan that I'm in knocks the Clan Boss into Affinity almost instantly, like within the first hour or so. So I will have to fight Affinity on this clan, in this clan. So I need to be prepared, which is why I want to build Marked. So that's it with Clan Boss. Oh, you know what? I didn't even think about it. Let me show you guys the speed tune. I talked about it, but I didn't like go over the speeds and stuff, which, sorry. So hopefully this could help some of you guys if you're progressing through the game. So it runs Haikatoon at 204 speed. A buff extender does not have to be Hellborn Sprite. I just prefer Hellborn Sprite because she does the weaken on her A1, and when she does the buff extension, she also places a crit rate buff on the whole team. So it's very nice. However, her base stats aren't as good as like Valerie, for example, who you can farm from campaigns. So if you already have a champion on your team you can do weaken, and you're not concerned about that, go for Valerie instead because she has better base stats and it'll be much easier to get her built. Then Gravechill Killer for decreased defense and poisons. And then we have Marked for the increased defense and block debuffs, which is going to keep us stun and affinity friendly. And then Coffin Smasher for decreased attack and HP burn. I'll probably turn off his A2 for this speed tune, honestly. Just because I want to make sure we never lose decreased attack. It's that important. But him being on a 2-1, he'll have twice as many chances to place it. So maybe I leave the HP burn on. Who knows? But anyway, so yeah. Yeah, this is a speed tune. It's super simple. It's like 204 speed for Haikatoon, extremely achievable. 179 for your buff extender, again, extremely achievable. 170 for your decreased defense or poison or whomever goes in this slot. 244 is the highest speed required on this team, so that could be a little tricky for your block debuffs champion. And then 199 for your whoever else fits into your team. So extremely, extremely accessible. And this is definitely what I'm going to do when I'm ready to push up into Nightmare. So fingers crossed, this will be at least a 4-key Nightmare team. I'm hoping that if I have everybody in Guardian, because they're on a 2-1, they'll be healing for 20% of their max HP in between each clan boss attack. And everyone will be taking 40% less damage because they're all in Guardian. And between that and the 60% increased defense from Marked, I'm praying that it's enough to 4-key Nightmare. And then I've got another version of this speed tune where the speeds are different, but it actually works on Ultra Nightmare. They're still working out a few kinks on that one. I'm not ready to quite show it off because I'm still tuning the speed tune. So, but once that one's ready, I'll show you guys because it's the same premise as this. It uses Marked to be affinity and stun friendly. But it takes like 15 turns before it falls into sync, so I'm going to keep tinkering with it and try to get it down before I show it off to you guys. But hopefully this can be of help to some of you people, to some of you guys who are progressing, trying to get to Nightmare. This is what I would consider to be a great entry-level Nightmare speed tune. What else have we got? Dungeons. So I did manage to beat stage 18 of Dragon with Frozen Banshee on my team. The poisons allowed me to kill the boss fast enough, but then when I got to stage 19, I just died to the waves. Not having an AoE decrease attack champion is making this so difficult. Also, I don't have a ally protect champion or any such champion that can just help reduce the damage that my team takes. So maybe once I get everyone into Guardian set, we'll try it again. And hopefully just everybody ally protecting each other can help, or I need to book Longsword Torux and maybe try to get him into a higher damage build, because having to take out one of my damage dealers to bring in crowd control just slows it down so much. So maybe this coming CVC I'll try to book Longsword Torux, see if that makes a difference. Also in Spider, I do Spider 13 now, which is really great because that opens up the ability to get 6-star gear drops, which is pretty big, especially since I'm at the point where I'm ready to try to start pushing up into Nightmare. So I have tried one Nightmare key on this account and I got about 5 million damage. So I don't know if it was a bad affinity, I don't know if Coffin Smasher didn't land his decreased attack or what happened, but I died really early. So once I get Hellborn Sprite and Marked built... Oh, I got a kitty cat visitor. Once I get Hellborn Sprite and Marked built, I'll try it again. Don't go in the cabinet. Sorry, I was talking to her, not you. That tail just... Okay. And that's about it. I'm still nowhere near putting up anything worth a damn in Hydra. Like 350k. That's my best key yet, but we're still a long ways off. We need 1.6 million for the minimum chest, which is something I'm motivated to do because Mithrala is within the parameters of my challenge. She falls under the plus category of rares only plus. So, Great Hall, dumped a bunch more medals during CBC. The beauty of the speed tune I'm currently building towards is that all my champions are magic affinity. So I'm going to try to push this up to 6, and then after I get this to 6, I'm going to start pushing HP to try to get more survivability for everybody. Also, on the subject of CVC, I managed to put up 126,000 points this past CVC, which I was very impressed by and very proud of. I shouldn't say impressed, that sounds stupid, it sounds very narcissistic. I was very proud of myself for having done that. And the way that I did that, and the way that I put up big points every CVC on this account, is I just farm campaign. 12-3 brutal, smash it out, smash it out, smash it out. For low level accounts, nothing else you do in this game is worth hardly any points. So the vast majority of my points every CVC comes from farming campaign. So if you are in a clan who cares about CVC and you want to do your part, I highly recommend farming campaign and just making lots and lots of food. Try to get a couple 6 stars if you can. That's when I got my Frozen Banshee and Gravechill Killer to 6. Well, I was working towards getting them to 6 star, and then once the champ training event came and went this past week, it's not even in here anymore. I finished getting them to 6 star, and I got that legendary book. So yeah, that's my strategy for CBC, and that's what I would recommend to you as well. So let's pull these 2 ancient shards. I don't really know what I'm hoping for at this point. Like, I've got pretty much everything. Myrmidon would be interesting, because he does the 50% ally protection. He does an AoE decrease attack, but it's the small version, but it's an AoE decrease attack nonetheless. That's 25% less damage that my team is going to take on enemy waves, plus the 50% ally protection that he brings. So it's like reducing the damage incoming to my team by like 75%, more or less. So beyond that, I don't know who else I would want. Maybe Soulbond Bowyer, so I wouldn't have to build 2 Armigers this early. That would be kind of cool. Yeah, let's just pull them and see what happens, if anything at all. I can't use epics. That is devastating. Thane would just... oh my gosh. She would be so good for Clan Boss. She would do Frozen Banshee's job and like... decrease attack, decrease defense, weaken, and poisons all in one champion. That is depressing that I can't use her. Oh my gosh. That would make my team so much easier to build, because then instead of I could just use her to replace Coffin Smasher and Gravechill Killer, and then I can bring Reliquary Tender onto that 2-1 team and have some extra healing. So the decreased defense and weaken, decreased attack, and 2 big poisons. What a great champion. Oh my gosh. That sucks. I mean, it's good, but it sucks that I can't use her. I got Mighty Mouse in the flesh. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you like the idea of this series, hit the like button. Doing so makes it more likely that YouTube will put my videos into other people's feeds to give my channel more visibility. If you like the idea of this series and you want to keep tabs on it, make sure you subscribe. That makes it so my videos are more likely to appear in your YouTube feed when you open YouTube every day. Anyway, that's going to do it for me. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully, I'll see you in another video soon, but until next time, happy raiding.